Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Um, this is OJ Light, and welcome to Late Night with OJ Light. So we're week one. We're week one into 2026, and I kind of wanted to go over what have we accomplished this week. Okay, so I got a number of articles. I got two articles up this week and some other stuff, and we're gonna just go review some of the stuff that I've written for the blog. And we're gonna start every week. We're gonna start with what are your my 2026 goals, right? That way we can see how well we are on track. Okay, so if you want to follow along, I'm on the blog post. Penis pumping gym bros. What are your 2026 goals? Here's mine. So 2025 has come to a close. Of 2026, let's take control of our lives. Here's what I will be working towards in 2026. The first major announcement I have is that I will be shifting on how I decide which videos to make next. Sometimes you guys leave questions and comments on my videos, and they make for good video topics. And I actually have released the first one of these. Actually, I've released quite a few of these this week, or over the last few weeks. But we'll be reading a new one tonight. So, some of the up and coming videos. Let's see, did I get any of these? Let me think here. How to resolve problems with the hand pump. Low tension versus high tension on size genetics extender. A reworking on the 8-inch bathmate review. And how much stamina can you use from? I've not gotten to any of these yet, sadly. I should have gotten one of these done. But anyways, I have released a couple videos. All right. So that's my first goal this year, guys, is to take your questions and to turn them into videos, and we've done that already. The second major goal this year is to finish my two-part speech. As most of you know, the two things I think men should focus on is getting into shape and using some sort of pump like the bathmate. I've been writing a 3-hour presentation that covers both of these parts. I'd like to have it sometime finished in 2026. I'll be releasing sections of that speech as articles before combining it all together, right? So that's one thing we're going to be working on. So third, what is that point? Sorry, somebody talking in the background. Third, so honestly, I have achieved my male enhancement goals, guys, and right now I am over 7 inches. My girth is 5.5. We have pictures online. The pictures are posted, and we'll be covering when the pictures are posted. However, I wanted to do more with the size genetic extender. So one of my goals this year was to do 2,000 hours with it. All right, so that's something I've been working on. And then the big chunk of my goal is I have some big fitness goals. I want 2026 to be the year I finally get to 200 pounds. I've been very lazy with my diet during the months of November and December, and I like to resume a better eating habits. So I started this year off. One moment, I wrote it down. I started this year off at 262.9 pounds. Right. So we'll talk about where I'm at tonight, a little bit. So my first goal is to get to, you know, 200 pounds. I'd like to increase my dumbbell lateral raises from 15 pounds to 30. I'd like to increase my dumbbell decline curls from 20 to 40. And I'd like to increase my dumbbell overhead extensions from 85 to 100, which is the biggest dumbbell they have in the gym. And I'd like to decrease my assisted dips from 55 pounds assist to 0 pounds assist. So it'd be fully on me. So these are the goals that I've been set gym wise, right? Okay, and then the next goal I'd like to do is learn Spanish. I have a love for Latin women, and I'd like to learn the language. Also, if I ever can afford retirement, I'd like to move to Mexico, away from the cold weather. And then the last goal I'll be working on, guys, is I want to try to make $20,000 with affiliated marketing. So we got a little bit of business going on here, and that is that's the big goals, right? That is the big goals for the year. Okay, so how am I doing on these goals? So let's just take a look here, guys. So I've gone from 262.9 pounds to I lost 5.4, so that gets me to 257.5 pounds. So again, I lost 5.4 pounds this week. And I think the biggest thing I've done to really kickstart this diet right is I cut out the protein shake in the morning. Just cut it out. Okay. So last year I started doing, probably later in the year, my protein shake is 450 calories, and you add a banana to that, which is about 125 calories. So you got like 600. No, I'm sorry, you got like 575 calories. So well, could be 600 if it's a bigger banana. So let's just say 600 calories, just to round it up. 600 calorie post-workout meal. And my weight was going up very slightly week by week. So, and I tried to make it up in the lunch and the dinners, but I ain't gonna lie, the protein shake and the banana did not fill me up, right? I'm still gonna eat the same amount of lunch. I'm still gonna eat the same amount of dinner. So this was an issue. Cutting that out, that 600 calories, I think it was a big plus, right? Big plus. I probably could keep the protein shake and banana in the diet, but man, I tell you what, if I have any slip up in the day is done. The day is done. Okay, so I thought this is an easy 600 calories to cut, and that's what I did. So I wish I didn't cut the protein shake out because it's 72 grams of protein, so that's really good. But I'm just telling you guys, the calories are just, it's obvious. Me cutting that out, the weight started falling off. And then the second thing is, how many hours did I wear the extender? So for the whole year, guys, I have worn the extender for 62 hours this year. Okay, which I think that's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's a lot more than I've usually do. I've really been pushing it, right? So 62 hours in the extender. Very low tension though. I'm gonna be adding more tension to it as the weeks go on, but 62 right out. And then let's just kind of talk about some things I did. I got this week. I got two articles done. I explained. I have an article for brand new people to the Bathmate, and I have an article for my plans with the size of neck extender. So those were the two articles I released this week. I've also finally took a few years, guys. I got the watermark. You can see it on the screen if you're watching this video. Little YouTube click me thing button. I got that on, and I got my banner up. Took way too long to get that stuff done. Way too long. And then I added downloaded something that's gonna help me with these videos a little bit more. It's called a vidIQ. Downloaded it. It's supposed to help me with better thumbnails and descriptions, just so I can reach more people and you guys understand what's in the video a little bit more. So that's the stuff I did this week, that I got accomplished this week. That is, that's aiming for those goals, right? So that's where we're at. So let's kind of read. We're gonna read about 5 articles tonight, guys. 5 articles I've written on the blog, and the first one is one of the articles I released this week. It's called Size Genetics Extended Battle Plan for 2026, right? So, like I said, so this is the first post I released this week. So, reading from the post. In a recent post, I revealed that I am 7 inches and 3/16 by 5.5 girth. Okay, and I love it. I love it. I think that's really all I want. But at the same time, there is the question: can I be even bigger? So, in 2026, I'm gonna discover that answer. So, on top of doing my regular Bathmate sessions, 4 times a week, I'm going to be adding the Size Genetics Extended to the mix. Okay, and my goal is to wear it for 2,000 hours this year. Okay, I've already gotten 62 hours. Okay, so it's not close to 2,000, but we're starting to we're starting there. We're starting strong. Not only am I interested in seeing how much bigger I can get, but this experience will allow me to answer you guys' questions, because this Size Genetic Extender is the second most asked things I get. So let me explain what I'll be doing. So for me, the main staple of my male enhancement program is the Bathmate. Okay, it's always been, it always will be. I think it's one of the best pumps out there. It's a hydro vacuum pump. The only complaint I have, and I'm not even sure if it's a really complaint, I've been seeing more and more that a lot of people wish that the Bathmate had a gauge. There are some modifications out there. I might try that later this year. I might try doing a modification with the gauge. We'll see. So this is my newbie routine. This is what I've been doing, but I think I might modify this. I'm gonna explain. So I usually do, a 5-minute workup, 50 scrotum stretches, 5-minute Bathmate pump, and I kegel inside, and then I repeat this for 15 minutes. And I'm thinking about dropping the kegels. And the reason I think I'm about dropping them is I watch Hank, sorry, and he advises against this, and I heard his reasoning, and it sounded really really good. He it's basically just like how you can put too much weight up and like tear a muscle, or even if you don't tear it, it can seize. He kind of makes the same argument for the pelvic floor muscles, that it's just too much. It's too much tension on it. And I kind of thought, okay, you know what? Maybe he's right. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm just somebody who was taught this stuff, and I follow what I've taught. But I'm always open to learn new things and change if more and efficient and better knowledge comes out. I'm definitely willing to incorporate it into what I do. So I'm thinking I'm dropping the Kegels. I'm thinking I'm dropping them. Because like I said, when I heard his argument, or his thoughts on the subject, I was like, yeah, I kind of agreed. I mean, what he said made sense, right? It didn't sound like it made sense. So I think I think I'm gonna try it. Okay, I'm gonna try it. But anyways, but even with that out, my routine's pretty similar, right? So anyways, I got my current size from doing. I know I put 100 sessions in there, but I kind of forgot that I did 100 before. So it should be 200 sessions. That got me from 6 3/4 to 7 3/16 and 5 1/8 to 5 1/2. Right. Um, Usually I do my pumping sessions in the morning. But for this coming year, I think I'm going to be doing them in the evening. So my day is going to look like this. So from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., I will wear the size genetics extender as long as I can tolerate it. I usually can wear them anywhere between 4 and 12 hours. The longest one I've okay. So on Wednesday, I could only wear 3 hours. I just was not in the mood to tolerate. But on last Sunday, I was able to wear it for 11 hours. So there is there's some variation in that, right? But try to wear it. I try to wear it a minimum of 4 hours a day. That's kind of what I try to wear it for. But like I said, Wednesday I was just not. It was just, yeah, I just did not want to wear it. So I'm gonna do another 100 sessions this year, and I'm gonna add the 2,000 hours, and we're gonna see what I get. We're gonna see what I get. Now, some people like to add as much tension on to them as possible. I'm going to add tension slowly as the years go on. So my tension spots where I add more is after 100 hours, I'll add more tension. And then after 150 hours, I add more tension. Then another 150 hours, I add more tension. Then at 200 hours, I add more tension. And then another 200 and 200, 200. And then that'll get me to 1,000. And then 250, 250, 250, 250, right? Every 250. At that point, I'll add a little, and that'll get me to the 2,000 hours. And I'll release blog posts every time I upgrade, just to kind of give you guys some thoughts on what I've learned over the course of that time frame. But I'm also going to be adding the minimum amount of tension as possible at each stage. And the reason I did this was because I remember I had it on, the tension was so great, like an hour I was done, and that's just not enough time. So I'm gonna try to do it little by little until I get to a lot of tension at 12 hours, and it doesn't bother me, right? But to do this, you gotta add little, but you gotta work your way up to it. Well, I feel that you should work your way up to it. So I have a lot of work ahead of me. I don't know where there will be struggles or if there will be anything to gain from this. I don't know. We're going to find out. Maybe not. So 2026 will answer the question, can I get bigger? We're going to find out. Okay? So that's the next big thing I'm working on. So it's the next article that we got written this week. Alright, so the other article that I wrote this week, guys, is Are You New to the Bathmate? Read this first. And the reason I wrote this article is that somebody on the blog left this question. I'm just going to read the, let me fix my camera. Oops. Someone left this question on my blog, and I thought it was a really good question. And they go, bro, I've recently bought the Hydro Extreme 8. And by the way, I apologize. This what they left me is not grammatically correct. So if it sounds like I'm stumbling, it's because some of the words were. You'll see. First time I used it was for a few minutes, and I stopped due to nerves. When he says nerves, I believe he means like nervousness. That's how he's using the word nerves. Nerves. Few days went by and was ready for a second use. First set was okay. About 5 pumps, held for 3 minutes, then stopped. Still don't think I'm turning the dial right though. Took a break and went for a second set, about 60% erect. Turned the dial and I think to the right, then added hand pump. Pumped about 4 times and my head ballooned so fast, freaked out. Took the hand pump off and tried to press it in. Wouldn't release and shouldn't release. Then it turned dial. Then I pressed it in, then released. Nerves are wrecked right now, as you can imagine. I'm not sure if I'm turning the dial correct direction before I pump or not. I will pump of dial. He's basically saying he freaked out. He used it. He freaked out, and used it and freaked out, and was just a little nervous. So, I made this blog post, and in this blog post, I revealed the first time that I used the Bathmate, and I was freaked out. Because first time I used it, it blew up, and I did freak out. I did indeed freak out. Because boom, it was boom, and I was a little nervous. I understand what they were saying. I was nervous, but looking back, guys, there was no blood, no injury. It was just having a new experience for the first time, and I like I said, I didn't even use it for the whole 15 minutes. Looking back, this is just normal expansion. This is just normal. So let's kind of roll it to 2026 now, right? So this is kind of my advice to this this new guy. Like I said, he's new to pumping and he's freaked out about his first pump, and here's my view on it. So the first thing I kind of want people to remember, and this sounds like a little bit of a tangent, but I'm gonna bring it back to the Bathmate. One of the most attractive qualities a person can have is the willingness to put themselves in uncomfortable and even painful situations. Okay, so money, women, even a six-pack will pursue you if you put yourself into those situations. So let me kind of give you an example. It's uncomfortable. It really is. It's not. It's fun, but it is uncomfortable to lift heavy weights. Right? It's uncomfortable. It's waking up at 4 a.m. to go do that. It's not. That part's not enjoyable. I like lifting weights, but it is uncomfortable. It's even painful, right? Right now, I'm sore. I'm sore as fuck. Okay, my arms hurt like shit. Okay, it's not fun. But I know at the other end of this, good things are there, right? Same with women. It's uncomfortable going to talk to a stranger. It just is. But it's attractive. Same with money. It's Dan Kennedy put it best. People don't get paid for their skills. People get paid for how much pain they can tolerate. Okay, that's what people actually get paid for. Why do CEOs make more money than the workers? Because the CEO has to be willing to tolerate the idea of going to prison. That part we don't talk about, but that is a thing. Congress has put CEOs in prison before. They haven't done it in a while, but there is a standard. There is a record for it. Um, they call the owner of the Facebook. They call him to Congress to answer questions. He's got to go. He's got to go. Right? He goes before them. He's not having a good time, but he does it. That's the deal. Um, so using now the bathmate as an example, doing it for the first time is a little uncomfortable. There's a lot of uncertainty. But in that uncomfortableness and that uncertainty, there's benefits. That's where the good stuff in life is at, in that region. So, do not be afraid. Okay. And then the second part of some practical advice is, again, I want to use weightlifting as an analogy for this. I think weightlifting can be used as an analogy for a lot of things. Just like in weightlifting, how you wouldn't go to the gym and put 225 pounds in a bar and try to lift it and not expect something to go bad your first time. You shouldn't try to pump to your maximum the first time you do it, right? Don't overpump. I don't know. I'm not saying he was overpumping. I'm just saying the tendency is to overpump, so don't overpump. Okay, so with that said, the article goes on, guys, and I think people should learn a simple 6-step process in using the bathmate. And the first step is, and if you watch the video, I do a little demo, how to turn the lock for the pressure lock valve. Then step 2 is fill the bathmate chamber with warm water. Step 3 is insert yourself into the bathmate. Step 4 is press against your pelvic bone lightly to create a little bit of pressure. If water doesn't come out, toggle the switch. And then you're going to attach the hand pump and then squeeze a few times to create additional pressure. And then after 5 minutes, unlock the pressure valve by turning it and press down on it to release, okay? And that's really what you should do your first few times. In fact, I would take the first month and that's all you do. What I just described. You don't do the 15-minute, the three sets of 5. You don't do any of that. You just put it on, leave it for 5 minutes, take it off. Just learn how to do that. That would be a really good start. And do it every other day. So say you just do it Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday for 4 weeks in a row. At the end of that 4 weeks, you should be very confident in how to use the device. Okay? And then the last thing I want to touch on is the bathmate makers suggest that you use the bathmate in a flaccid state. This is because, from my understanding, and I'm not a doctor, so take this as gossip. You in the flaccid state is more resilient to injury than it would be in its erect state. So, now, I'll be honest, this can be difficult. I get excited during the whole process. Yesterday's pump was just turned on. It was hard. So what I do is close my eyes for a minute, try to clear my thoughts, and just let everything deflate. That's usually how I get around that. So, anyways, this was the advice I gave to somebody who was asking questions on the blog. Okay? So, that's from the second article that I released this week. So, I'm going to read an article I released last week because I think it's a good follow-up, actually. And so how often can you use the bathmate once you get comfortable with it? So this question was posed to me. This was another question that one of you guys posed to me that I thought was a good question, and I wrote a post about this. Now, again, the Bathmate is a water vacuum penis pump that men use to get better erections. Okay, that's what they use it for. To get the best results from this, there's some guidelines I want to go over today. First, you should only use the Bathmate in 5-minute spurts. That's what it's suggested. I know some people do more than that, but I do not feel like if you do that, that's on you. I'm not going to say, okay. I usually do, the initial pump, and then at the 2-minute and 30-minute mark, I do another pump with the hands, and at the 4-minute, 30-minute mark, I do the last pump, and then I take it off at the 5-minute mark, right? And I do these 3 spurts for a total of 15 minutes within a 24-hour period, okay? And I usually have about a 4-minute break in between each spurt, okay? And that's how much I use it per day. Now the Bathmate suggests doing it for 3 to 5 times a week. I usually bounce between 3 and 4, mainly 4, but sometimes 3 if I'm busy. And that's how often I would recommend using it, right? Maybe in the future I up that or decrease that. I don't know, but currently that is what I would suggest, okay? From my own experience, okay? So, now that you know how to use it, now you know how many times you can use it a week and how long, this leads to the last question. Are the results with the Bathmate permanent? Okay? So, and I think this has been one of my better blog posts because it provides a lot of proof. Okay, it provides a lot of proof to what I'm saying. Because being big is amazing. And I get a lot of questions. All the results permanent. So, this thinking, here's the thing. I think that way of thinking is a little flawed. When people ask, is this permanent? And usually they're asking it because they do a couple sessions and they like the immediate after effect, but is it permanent? And the real question you should be asking is, how long does it take to make the immediate results permanent, right? That's the difference. Because you want to go to the gym. Again, I like using gym as an analogy to this. Lift weights once and expect to wake up with 22-inch arms. You wouldn't expect that. You wouldn't expect to diet just for one day out of the whole year and then wake up the next day with a 6-pack. You wouldn't expect that. So expect the same thing from this. The only difference is that I think the immediate results after pumping, or even though they're temporary, the immediate results are temporary, but they do eventually become permanent. But when you first start off, they are temporary, and they look great. So that's the one thing pumping has that's an advantage. So again, I have had I've had some pictures. Here again, I said I was at. You can see these at the blog. You got a picture here of me being 6 3/4. It looks like it's 5/8, but that's just, I had a hard time holding it. Quick off. It's not really off the topic, but somebody. This is why I like going on forums, because somebody recommended a much better way of taking pictures and doing what I've been doing. When I saw it, I was like, when you guys see the pictures, you'll be like, that was a great idea. I don't even want to ruin it, but sometimes it's good to go on forums and see how other people are measuring and taking pictures, because sometimes it's like, oh my god, why didn't I think of that? It's so much easier. Okay, so, but when we look at the girth one, guys, you clearly can see them 5 1/8. And then we got later pictures, about 100 sessions later. I don't really like the length picture. I think it sucks. The girth one though, I think is great. 5.5. That one's solid. That one is so solid. But the I don't like the length. I don't like the length picture. I think it's bad. I think it's bad. I think it's really bad. But I'm not the only one with the results. They have the Bathmate provides a survey, and these were the results from the survey. So it's just not me. So they said 92.9% of Hydro Extreme users, that's what I am, report better erections. 80 after 2 months. And then 86.6 of Hydro Extreme users report, just in general, report better erections. And then after 2 months, 85.7% of Hydro Extreme users report size gains. 82.7 of these users report real results. And then after 2 months, 81% of users reported either better erections or size gains. So these are like from the Bathmate. These are like the survey results. So anyways, yeah, I'm not like you can go look at the. I think you can go on the website and find the data or request the data from them. But that's pretty much the what I got for you guys for today. So anyways, I want to thank you for joining me tonight, and I look forward to the next week. I want to see what next week brings. More weight loss, more gains. What up? And I'll see you guys.